Bobby C. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do a short video about cleaning your water lines. It's very important to clean your water lines at least twice a year. I use this product. It's called Spring Fresh from Camco. I used it a few times. Usually after I de-winterize in the spring. I'm in the north, so I do have to winterize. And then in the fall, it's September now, and we're going to make a trip to Myrtle Beach for about 10 days, so I want to clean my water lines before we go. So I've used it before. I think it works pretty well. I'll show you how to do it. If you like what you see, please give me a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Subscribing, I appreciate it. Really helps the channel. For all you subscribers, thank you very much. So the first thing we want to do in this process is we have to completely drain our freshwater tank and all our lines. So we want to get everything out, including the water heater. We want to get everything out before we proceed with this. So here's my low point drain for the freshwater tank. I'm going to open that. And just let it drain completely. Okay, there are two other low point drains. These are for your lines, and in my Integra Odyssey 26M, they're in my water bay, and as you can see, they're clearly marked low point drains. Only have two, so I'm going to open those up, and as you can see, it's draining. So we're going to just go ahead and let that drain, and we're going to move over to the water heater. We're going to drain the water heater because it probably contains about 6 gallons of water, and you don't want the stale water sitting in the water heater either, especially if it's been a few months before you've used your RV. So if you use your RV a lot or you're full-timing in it, this probably isn't as critical. Periodically you should, but if you're like us and you do some camping and then it sits for a while and then you do some more camping and then maybe you go for an extended period, it's really pretty important. So we're going to drain the water out of the RV. Of course, you want to make sure of the hot water tank. You want to make sure that your hot water tank isn't on. It would be pressurized. And this is your pressure relief valve. So you want to open that up. And this is my nylon stopper that holds the water in. So I'm going to remove that now. I don't have to show you that. I'll take it out. You can see it draining. And as you can see, it's coming out pretty quick. Okay, we're inside the RV now, and what we want to do is we want to open all of the drains, valves, which will help everything to drain faster. And the one we have to get on the outside is the outside shower. We have to open both of those valves. Again, helps drain everything out of your lines, everything out of the freshwater tank. Okay, everything's draining right now. That'll take a little while, so we'll come back after everything's drained. We're going to fill it up again, close all the valves, fill it up again 3/4 of the way, and add the Spring Fresh. Everything's been drained. My neighbor's cutting his grass, and it's time to reinstall my drain plug here for the water heater and close all the valves before filling it up. So if you were doing this right after de-winterizing, there would be a couple of additional steps. One would be you'd remove your internal water filter canister, and you would, after flushing it out, and then you would reinstall a filter. And secondly, you would have bypassed, when you did the winterizing, your water heater. So obviously that wasn't the case here, but your water heater would have been bypassed, so you would have to have opened that back up so that the water heater could be filled after all of the antifreeze was drained. You don't want antifreeze in your water heater. So once that's all drained, you would be opening up your bypass. But that's not where we are. We're ready to go, ready to fill up. Okay, now our valves need to be changed over to 1 and 6, the city fill positions. So we're going to go to 1 and 6. Hook up our hose, including our pressure reducer, and fill it up to 3/4 right now. freshwater tank is 3/4 full, and that's where we want it. So we're good to go there. Water shut off now, and we're going to go ahead and add the Spring Fresh. So once we add the Spring Fresh according to directions, we will then take a drive around and let it slosh around the inside of the freshwater tank, and from there I'll show you the next steps. So here we go. According to the directions, as you can see, my freshwater tank is 43 gallons. And if it was 50 gallons, I'd go down to this line, but since it's not, I'm gonna go just above that line, and I'm gonna go ahead and suck that in, and I'll show you how to do that. Again, we're gonna plug this in to draw up the Spring Fresh from the jug. However, this washer, as you can see, it's a conical shaped washer. It does need to be flipped around, which makes it easier to draw from the jug. There's a check valve back there, so when you flip it around, it changes the check valve. So it's also true when you're doing the winterizing, you're trying to pull up antifreeze. Very, very important. Do not forget that step. Okay, my valves are now on 1 and 4, which is the setting for sanitizing the tank. And I have the connection from my water inlet onto the jug. And back here, I have a water pump switch. So I'm going to turn that on. And I don't know how well you can see, but it's beginning to drain that. Again, we're going to take it down to just above the 50 line. I found that it helps if you elevate the jug a little bit, as I do here, especially when I winterize. Well, we've driven around a bit and sloshed the tank around. So there's a surfactant inside of the Spring Fresh, so it allows it to better cling to the tank. So we should be pretty well coated. So now the next step is we're going to turn on each faucet, hot and cold, and let them run individually, one at a time, for 2 minutes. And then shut them off and go to the next one. So you're going to let it run for 2 minutes, and after that, once we get through all the faucets, including the shower at the end, we'll let the whole thing sit for 10 minutes, and then we're going to drain it again and then refill. So just with water. It's important at this stage, when you have the Spring Fresh in your freshwater tank, you want to draw from there. So you do want to use the water pump and have your valve settings on 3 and 5 as you're running through these faucets, because it's drawing that Spring Fresh from the freshwater tank, running it through all your lines. That's what you want. Okay, valves are in the proper position. We're going to turn on the water pump, and we're going to put on the faucet. It's got some air in the lines. And here we go. So when we get a steady flow, we'll want to let that run for 2 minutes. It's on cold, and then we'll switch it over. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is do all the cold first, and then go back and do the hot. The hot is going to take a little longer to get going because there's, remember, 6 gallons in the water heater that's got to cycle through. So, all right. We'll come back after we get all this done. Again, don't forget the outside shower. While you're draining the system again the second time, open the valves, all the valves, makes it go much faster. So after we drain the tank completely, it's biodegradable, so no sweat. I'm doing it in my driveway and in the lawn here. Won't hurt anything. It's also good for boats. After we drain it completely of all the Spring Fresh, we're going to refill it, and we're going to refill the water tank. So I'm going to put it on city fill tank, which is 1 and 6. We're going to refill the fresh water tank, and then we're going to go through the same process. We'll turn on each valve inside and let it run for 2 minutes, hot and cold. And then when we're done, we're going to dump everything again. We'll do that twice. and then we're done. You don't have to wait 10 minutes this time, so just fill it up, turn your valves off inside, fill it up, fill up the freshwater tank, pump it out from there 2 minutes at a time, and you're going to be good to go. Okay, we're wrapping up our project for cleaning our lines with the Spring Fresh product. Just to summarize the steps, we drain all the lines at first, then we fill the freshwater tank up 3/4, and then we'll add in the proper amount of Spring Fresh product, suck it into the freshwater tank, and then we run each valve off the water pump, normal settings 3 and 5, to draw from the water tank, freshwater tank, and that will draw the product through the lines. Run each valve individually for 2 minutes, hot and cold, and then let it sit for 10 minutes the first time, and then you drain it out, and then you start all over. Basically all you're doing is, after you've I missed the step of driving around, sloshing it around in your tank, but outside of that, the next couple of steps are basically the same, except that you fill the tank up, the freshwater tank, all the way, and again, draw the product through, run each valve for 2 minutes. Once you're done with that, you don't have to wait 10 minutes this time like you do the first go round. You can just drain everything out. And again, it's all biodegradable, so no issues there with the environment. You do it one more time and you're done. It's taken me a lot longer than normal, just because I've had a lot of distractions, but really the process doesn't take that long. A lot of people do it when they get to a campground. I like doing it before I get to a campground. A lot of people will use bleach as a sanitizer for their lines. It's probably a better sanitizer than the Spring Fresh. However, I don't like to use bleach because it's caustic and it can damage all the rubber seals in your system, and there's a lot of rubber seals in these systems, so I really don't want to take that chance. I hope you got something out of this video. It's a pretty easy process, and again, twice a year I recommend that you clean your water lines with a product like this or something like it. And if you like what you saw, give me a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. I'll be seeing the RV, signing out.